Hello and welcome to Videoguys Newsday Tuesday. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You give us about 20 to 30 minutes. We're going to teach you all about the products we sell, new technologies, workflows, etc. Today, real excited. Our show is going to concentrate on LaCie video storage RAIDs. That's what you see here in front of me. And over on this side of me, let me see if I can get the right weatherman arm. Yeah, we've got Steve Hitchcock of LaCie. Now, he's coming to us from Portland, Oregon. And he is a product marketing specialist. He's going to tell us about these products a little bit more in depth when we get into it. So, Steve, thank you very much for coming on our show. It's really much appreciated.
Yeah, Gary, thank you so much for having me. Myself and LaCie are very excited to be here.
Cool. Now, we're going to go into the different RAIDs, and we're going to start because it is orange. And I want to say that, you know, everyone who knows LaCie, if you know video, if you ever had a hard drive that crashed, you ever went to the Apple store, I'm pretty sure what you've seen is one of these orange drives. These orange drives are the de facto standard for external rugged storage throughout the United States and all over the world. If you go to the Genius Bar and they have to restore your Apple, your Mac, they're doing it from one of these orange drives. But what a lot of people didn't know is these orange drives actually come in a RAID, and this is their rugged RAID. And what I love about the rugged RAID, and I'm going to keep holding this up here, Ed, so people can see it, is it's got a built-in card reader, so you can take a card like one of these pro-grade cards that we offer and put it right in there and take data off of it, which we think is really cool. I love how LaCie is leading the way of integrating card readers into their storage. That's a really great thing. Thanks a lot, guys, and thank you on that. So, Steve, talk a little about the LaCie Rugged RAID, and more importantly, what I love, the Rugged RAID Pro.
Yeah, so thanks, Gary. We've had the Rugged RAID. It's been out for about 4, maybe 5 years now. It's got two 2-terabyte hard drives inside of it, and you can switch that hardware RAID of that device between RAID 0 and RAID 1. Now, the Rugged RAID Pro is the new version of the Rugged RAID. It's been out for about 3 or 4 months now. And what makes it different from the first version of the Rugged RAID is that it's now 10% faster and 10% thinner than before. So I'll take those all day long. Also, it comes with an SD card reader in it. Now, that SD card reader is integrated, so when you connect the Rugged RAID to your MacBook Pro, let's say, or your Windows PC, you have that missing SD card slot that so many of us are missing on our new laptops.
So it's faster, it's thinner, it's got the integrated card reader, it's USB-C, so it can work with all the modern connectivity, and with a little simple adapter, which it comes with, you get up to what we know as the regular USB 3, USB 2 type connector. Now, obviously, depending on the connection you use, that'll change the speed of which you can transfer data, but at USB-C 3.1 speeds, this is a very, very fast drive, fast enough for HD editing for sure.
Correct, and in RAID 0, you'll get 250 megabytes per second on it, and then the product also features a 3-year warranty with 3 years of data recovery insurance on that.
Cool. We're going to go into that section of all these drives a little bit, and you'll see we put little icons up on this graphic. If you want to bring this graphic up full screen, Ed, I just want to talk about the graphic a little bit. You'll see that these next set of drives all include Thunderbolt 3. They all have USB-C as well. They have a 5-year warranty and data recovery. So we're going to talk about the two big Dock Thunderbolt 3, and I want to pick this one up and show it to, actually, Ed, you've got a close-up on it. Yeah, here it is right here, so you can see it. And there is a card reader in front of this where you can put the card in, just like I showed you on the orange one before, and you can read the data. And that integrated card reader, to me, is one of the coolest features. And to be honest with you, it's something I was asking for almost 5 years ago for my RAID storage supplies. I always thought, every time I need to get that data off, it used to be you had to have a clunky little adapter. Those adapters work much better now, but the truth of the matter is you never seem to have it when you need it, or if it's in your laptop, it broke or you can't get to it for whatever reason. So kudos on doing that. And the truth of the matter is you're pricing your drives with a card reader at pretty much the same price other people have their 2-drive RAIDs on, and yours is both Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C. So that's just a winning combination, Steve. Great job.
Hey, thanks a lot. And another thing to note on that is that the card readers built into that too big of ours are USHD 2. So they're top of the line card readers. They're as fast as you can get when it comes to a card reader in any sort of device right now.
Yeah, and there's a good old-fashioned USB port on it. So in theory, you could actually, if the drive is plugged into to a wall wart, you could also kind of trickle charge your laptop or your phone. Now, it's not going to be a quick charge, but at least it means you won't be losing more from it while you're working on it, which is pretty cool.
Correct. Yeah, this product features power pass-through on it with its Thunderbolt 3 and its USB-C that's on the back. And that's one of the things that you should really take note is the fact that that device has not just USB-C, but also Thunderbolt 3. That's a rare thing to find in a product like that.
And it's got 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, so we can daisy chain, correct?
That's correct. You can daisy chain up to 6 devices off of that one.
Cool. Now, I want to just review the pricing a little bit. You have 8 terabytes starting at $649, but the sweet spot to me is the 12 terabyte at $799 or the 20 terabyte at $1199. But great job on these drives. We've loved them. We've done a lot of shows on them in the past. They were a product of the year for us a couple of years ago. So if you want to find out more about their drives, there's a lot of videos on Videoguys. There's a lot of videos on the LaCie website. It's a great drive. I recommend it highly. LaCie Big Dock 2. And now we're going to go to the next one, the 6-bay desktop RAID storage, the Big 6 Thunderbolt 3. Now, one of the things I got to stress about this is a large RAID, 6 drives, Thunderbolt 3 connectivity, but you still get USB-C, which means it's backwards compatible with older storage types. Almost every computer in the world has a USB 2 port in it at this point, if it's still running. You have USB 3 also and USB-C. You connect any way you want, or Thunderbolt. Obviously, you're going to connect the fastest way possible because that's the whole idea here. But it also means that this drive, if it has data on it, and your one computer that's Thunderbolt 3 craps out, you can still get to your data because you can just plug it into a USB 3 or a USB 2 port on an older computer. So great job with that. These are lightning fast because they're 6, you can go up to 6 drives in a stripe. So you can actually get up to 1,400 megabytes per second. Now that's obviously through the Thunderbolt 3 port. You're going to be slower through the other ports, but tell us some of the other features that you love about this drive.
So one of the things I really love about the 6 Big is one, it's just its build quality. It's made of all aluminum. It's got 2 Noctua fans in the back of it. Those are thermal regulated, so they only spin up to the speed that they need to keep the device cool, which helps keeps the device sound at a minimum. Now, not only is it have those 2 Noctua fans in it, it actually is overfanned to the point that the device can work at full speed on just one of those 2. So that just points out how focused we are on ensuring that product remains quiet for you in your studio environment. So that's one of the things I really love about it, and that's something that you don't see from the competition right now.
And can we bring that picture back up on the middle screen if we could of the drive? Because I put the drive over here. Very cool. I want to show you that it comes, you know, it's pointed out here. They say, hey, the USB and the Thunderbolt, USB-C and Thunderbolt 3 ports look exactly the same. So the folks at LaCie say, hey, this is the USB one. This is the one we want you to plug it in when you're formatting and setting up. Then when you pull the label, you get access to the 2 Thunderbolt 3s. We're not going to use that right now because this is a stock unit that, you know, we'll package up. But now let's bring up the slide and go over the pricing on these puppies. 12 terabytes for $19.99. Great price. I really think the sweet spot is the 36 terabyte at $31.99 and the big kahuna of them all, 60 terabyte, 610 terabyte drives for $42.99. And once again, we're going to go into it later. These drives are Thunderbolt 3, USB-C, which means backward compatible to USB 3 and 2, come with a 5-year warranty and rescue software. Now let's talk about the 12-bay desktop. It's everything that the 6 has, but twice as much. 12 drives in this. It is a big stack of storage. All the features you get in the 6-bay are in the 12-bay, but because it's striping up to 12 drives, you get even faster. You can get data rates of 2,600 megabytes. So that speeds that at 6K video. What's that mean? If you're a 5K red guy, you can use this. If you're a 4K, 5K Blackmagic guy, you can use this. If you're shooting 4K on a DSLR, you can use this product with uncompressed or compressed footage. Super cool, daisy chainable, and let's go over the pricing on that. 48 terabytes at $42.99, all the way up to 120 terabytes for $81.99. Very cool, great products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the 12 Big is fantastic for anybody out there that's looking for serious 4K, 5K, or even 6K production needs.
Now, when you're talking about 12 drives or external, server level drive blades that have, 12, 24, 36, 48 drives. What starts happening that a lot of people don't realize is the drives are spinning, and their very own motions and magnetism start to affect each other if you put them in a closed space together. So that means to get really great results, you need to have drives that are enterprise class drives, the same drives that a Google or a Facebook would put in their server rooms, that are their clouds, in these type of drives. And that's what you guys are putting there. They're the Iron Wolf Pros. Talk to me about those a little bit.
Yeah, Gary. So one of the cool things about our Iron Wolf Pro hard drives is that they feature anti-vibrational sensors in them. So what does that really mean? Well, in a unit like our 12 bay there, what those drives are able to do is they're able to sense each other, stacked one on top of each other. And so they use those anti-vibrational sensors to make sure that the drives don't vibrate independent of each other, but vibrate in unison with each other. And so when you do that with the hard drives, that creates the ability to have far less drive failures.
Cool. And I see David chimed in a little bit asking about SSDs. Yeah, today's show is really about their hard drive based RAID solutions today. We've done other shows and we'll do more shows on SSDs in the future, but we're not really concentrating. Today's about, hard drive RAID. So let's talk a little bit more. I stressed this when we were going over each version, but I just think it's so important, and it really separates LaCie from other external hard drive companies. Other companies have gone Thunderbolt 3 only, which gets them a little more speed and performance, but it means that that drive can only be hooked up to a Thunderbolt 3 computer. And the sad reality is there just aren't that many. The max cylinder is stuck on Thunderbolt 2. It'll never be Thunderbolt 3. Workstations from Dell and from HP now have Thunderbolt 3 as an option finally available, but it doesn't come standard. There is some Asus and Alienware type gaming stuff that comes standard with Thunderbolt 3. Mac puts it in some MacBooks and then doesn't with others. They seem to not have made up their mind. There's news happening in the future about what's going on with Thunderbolt and USB, but you guys have done the smart solution. I really applaud it, and that was said, let's give people all the connectivity they need. We may have to sacrifice a fraction of performance on the highest end, but we'll have a drive that a person can hook up to just about any computer they've ever owned. Mac, PC, Windows, Windows 7, Windows 10, doesn't matter. You're going to plug in your LaCie external RAID, and it's just going to work.
That's correct, and that is one of the killer features about our 12 big, 6 big, and 2 big docks. We are the only one out there right now that's running around with, like you said, that Thunderbolt and that USB-C connection. And it also comes with that USB-C to USB-A, or as a lot of people are used to calling it, USB 3 cable as well. So it gives you the multiple interface options out of any RAID out there on the market.
Cool. And now when you're talking a Big 6 or a Big 12, another feature you guys have that no one else has is your RAID Manager software. Now, we're going to show a little video about the RAID Manager software, which is going to show how easy it is to use with a few clicks to set up a RAID 5. So I'm going to roll that clip first, then you and I will talk more in depth about other features that we like best about it. Eddie, let's roll that video.
Another great feature we have is when you highlight the disk, you can actually see which drive it is in the unit. You don't have to guess which drive it is in the unit. So you can go through, now that we have, we see all of our disks, and then I'm going to choose a RAID 5. So I've got my odd number disks chosen. It tells me in RAID 5 I'm going to have 30 terabytes of usable storage and 6 terabytes for the redundancy. I go ahead and click next. Now here gives you a chance to do a little setting. I'm going to call this RAID 5 just so I know what it is later. And click next. It just it's going to tell us what we're doing here, give us an overview of our settings, and finish. So now it's formatting the drive. I just created a RAID 5 in less than 2 minutes.
All right, before we go into the RAID Manager, let's do a quick overview of the different types of RAID configurations there are for video editing. RAID 0, that's when you stripe 2 or more drives against each other for one big volume, gives you the fastest possible speed, but it does come with a risk because if any drive in that RAID fails, you lose all your data. RAID 1, that's the opposite. That's mirroring. That's for pure protection. The 2 drives mirror each other, or pairs of drive mirror each other, which means if a drive fails, you have an exact copy ready to go. And then the other RAID that we love is RAID 5, and that's our recommendation for video editing because it combines performance, protection, and affordability all in a single RAID. And if you're raiding 6 drives, it would be 5 drives for storage and 1 drive for the RAID. So let's talk about the RAID Manager software. Steve, tell me what your favorite features are about that. And by the way, before you start talking, we showed you that clip before. We have a whole video on how to set up and use the RAID Manager software. Me and Steve are just going to talk about what we like about it and why it's such an important feature in LaCie RAIDs.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Yeah, the LaCie RAID Manager is actually one of the most impressive parts of our products. If you compare it with the competitions, our RAID Manager has many advantages. One, it's been modernized, and it's on its 2nd major version right now. We've been working on our LaCie RAID Manager for a solid 5 years now. And if you look at the competitors, our RAID Manager actually looks like it's from this century, which is a great thing. And so that is why it's so easy to use, like we were kind of showing you earlier in that video clip. But the other things I really love about our LaCie RAID Manager is, one, we have CPU control. You may ask, why do I want CPU control? Well, in a traditional RAID environment, if a drive were to go down on you, you would need to remove the drive, put a new one in, and then that RAID's going to start rebuilding itself. Well, I still have work I have to do today, but the RAID itself is trying to rebuild itself. So if I try to edit off of a RAID that's trying to rebuild itself, the computer inside of that RAID is going to be far more persistent than I am. There's going to be a conflict, and it's going to continue to have to rebuild itself, preventing me from being able to work for the day. Well, with our products, if that ever happened to you, you can actually go in and adjust the CPU to say, let's trickle rebuild. So in other words, let's rebuild but not affect my performance. And so it will slowly rebuild for you during the day, allowing you to continue to work. And then at night, you can swap that around and have the device rebuild itself in up to twice the speed. That's only one of the killer features of our RAID Manager. It also has email notifications set up. So if you needed to know that a fan was not working properly, or a power supply was getting hot, or a hard drive's getting too hot, it can email you and tell you these critical issues that might be going on with your hardware.
And what I always talk about to people is drives don't mysteriously just stop working out of nowhere. They give you a lot of clues and a lot of hints. And I've always said, if things are clicking a little bit, if it's taking louder when it boots up or boots down, if you see that you're moving files and initially it hesitates for a while and you're getting, the hourglass, you're getting the pinwheel, that's a sign that something's going on with your drives. Well, you guys have taken that one further. Your drive will actually email you that something's going wrong. So even if I'm not paying attention, I'm going to be told, hey, watch this drive, back up important data, be aware something could be going on.
That's correct. That's correct. The other thing, though, that I really love about our RAID Manager is just the ease that it is to set up a RAID. You can literally put somebody down in front of it, and it graphically explains to you the RAID that you're setting up, how much capacity you're going to have, and how much redundancy you'll have as well.
Yeah, and what I love is not only can you use the RAID Manager to create a single RAID, I can actually take a drive like this Big 12 and break it up into multiple RAIDs to be whatever I need for whatever usage. So maybe it's got to do with I'm a professional, but I do hobby stuff. So I want to take 8 of the drives and make them my big RAID for work, and then I want to take 4 of the drives and make it for myself. Or maybe I do some photo work. So I want 2 drives to be mirrored for photos that are my photo work, and then I want the rest of this RAID to be a whole big RAID 5, or I want 2 RAID 5. I could do it any way I want, and I could break them apart and change them. Now, got to be careful. Data gets wiped out when you redo RAIDs, but you can use the drive and configure it to the way you want to fit your needs. And I think that's very, very cool. And that's something that you really only find on shared storage solutions costing 4, 5, 10 times as much money.
Yeah, that is a killer feature of our RAID Manager. And as you stated, one of the ways I look at it as a video editor myself is I like to take something like the 6-big or the 12-big. I'll take 3 or 4 drives. I'll make that a RAID 0, so I have a really fast scratch disk. I'll take another 3 or 4 drives, make that a RAID 5, so I have a nice space to put my finished projects that's archival and has redundancy built into it. And then I have another couple drives left over that can be used as dedicated spares to hop into place if anything ever were to come about or have any issues with the product.
Very cool. Redundancy is important. And what's also important is knowing that if the worst stuff does happen, your drives do fail, there's still a way to get that data back. And explain to me that LaCie comes with 5-year rescue data recovery services. And I think that's just incredible, because I know folks who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that after stuff goes wrong. You get that with your RAID. I think you have to register that you own it first, then it's in effect for you. But talk us about that feature and why it's so important, why you guys decided to add it, because it's obviously a cost to you guys that is, you know, passed down to me as a feature.
Yeah, so all of LaCie's RAIDs with Thunderbolt 3 on them, so all the ones we've talked about here today, feature five-year warranties on the drives and on the chassis, but they also feature 5-year warranty in the form of data rescue insurance. And so what does that data rescue insurance really mean to you, the end user? It means this. You could have that hard drive catch on fire. An earthquake could hit your house and tumble down on top of your device, and then it happens to wash its way into the river, and you scuba dive down and get that drive out of the river a week later, and you call us up and you tell us all the horrible stuff that just happened, and we'll say, we're sorry to hear all this. It sounds like you might need data rescue. So we then send you in as an email a UPS label. Your job then would be just to get that drive into a box and shipped out to us with that UPS label. Once we receive it, we will inspect it, shoot you an email, let you know that we've got it. And then we will, if we have to, because of that earthquake and the fire and the flooding, we will take that device into a clean room if needed and dismantle it, put it all back together, and do our best to get your data off of it free.
There's no guarantees, but you guys will do everything possible to do it. And then you also have advanced replacement, which means if a drive does go down from my RAID, so I didn't lose any data, but I'm now going to rebuild, I call you guys, you send me a new drive, and then I return the old one to you afterwards. My drive can be rebuilding in the background through my CPU management activity, if I so choose.
That's correct. Yeah, advanced replacement is a great thing to have if you ever need it.
Cool. Now, one of our viewers on Facebook, Ravi, asked which type of hard drive model you use for 4K editing. And the truth is, all these RAIDs can be used for compressed 4K editing. If it was a ProRes or DNX, you know, you'll be fine. If you're getting into higher types of editing of 4K footage where it's raw or more lightly compressed or 444, then the 2-bay RAID's not going to be fast enough. The 2-bay RAID gets up to about 500, and you really need more than that for your uncompressed format. So at that point, you're going to want the 6-bay and a RAID 5 or a RAID 0, or you're going to want the 12-bay striped in some combination of RAID 0, RAID 5, or even RAID 6, which you can go into here because I think it's the overly paranoid version of redundancy. So I'm a big RAID 5 fan versus RAID 6, but you can achieve 4K editing with any of the RAIDs you see. Well, I wouldn't go with the rugged for 4K. I keep that to HD, but this little puppy, the Big Dock 2, can actually do 4K with compressed 4K. But really, I'd say for 4K editors, because to say compressed, there's different levels of compression now, and there's lightly compressed and heavily compressed. So I'm going to say if you're really doing all 4K workflows, I would start with the 6-bay. The 12-bay, yeah, absolutely, you can do 4K and beyond, but I would start with the 6. Would you agree with that assessment, Steve?
I completely agree with you. While the 2-big may be fast enough to handle compressed encodes to do 4K with, one of the things that you'll probably run into is just space limitations. 4K can get big file size very fast, even in compressed forms. So going with that 6-big and or that 12-big will give you all the space that you need. And all the speed that you need to be able to work in 4K. And
with the 12-bay, you could take 2 drives, strike them as a RAID 0, put your scratch disk work disks there, and now those will be lightning fast while your project's going, because although we're using compressed footage, the true thing is when we're doing effects and stuff, it gets uncompressed, recompressed. That's how the NLE works in the background. You don't need to know that, but the truth of the matter is you can never have too much disk space or disk space that's too fast. So, but the 6 to get going will do fine in a RAID 5, but if you really want to own it, the 12 is going to put you over the top. Steve, thank you so much for coming on today's show. You were a great guest. I think we covered a lot of cool areas, and we'll hope to have you again. You're going to be at NAB, right, in April, so I look forward to seeing you over there.
Yep, I'll be at NAB. I'll see you there.
Cool. So videoguys.com, 800-323-2325. Give us a call. We have live people here who can help you with the products we sell. We are, we can help you. You tell us what kind of footage you're editing, what kind of computer you have. We'll put you in the right LaCie storage to meet your workflow, to meet your needs, to meet your budget. Want to go now into some of the shows that we have upcoming, some real exciting shows coming up. March 19th is our Atomos show. We're going to do the Atomos 5-inch monitors. They had the Ninja, which was our product of the year last year. They just started shipping the Shinobi. Wah. I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's the Rolling Stones thing. Every time I hear it, I do it. It's perfect for DSLR cameras, 4K, high nit, super bright screen. It's got the ultra high res UDHR, very cool to do. March 26th, we're going to have Frank Scartozzi on from Matrox, and we're going to be talking about the Monarch family of encoder recorders and different verticals and how they're being used in real life situations. And we're going to go over 4 different ways that the Monarchs are being used, user stories, white paper kind of stories and video. But me and Frank are going to talk about how the Monarch's being used, why it was chosen, why it was selected, and why those schools or organizations are using it. And then on April 2nd, we've got some new products from Glyph, including a Thunderbolt 3 dock and an Atom Pro VME SSD. I saw some people were asking about SSDs. We'll talk a little bit about Glyph SSDs on that show. So this brings a conclusion for today's show, Video Guys Newsday Tuesday. You give us 30 minutes, 25 minutes. We're going to teach you all about the technology you sell. Today's show was about the LaCie RAIDs, their hard drive RAID-based systems. We had a special guest on, Steve Hitchcock. I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. You can watch us live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and you can log into videoguys.com/live to watch the live show. I'm Gary. Eddie's on the comm. Janice is over there too. Give us a call at 800-323-2325 with any of your questions about any of the products that you see here. We'd be happy to help you with them, help you with your workflows and your budgets. And by all means, like us on Facebook, share our stuff, tell your friends about it. Please spread the love, spread the word. And this is Gary from Videoguys.com. Peace.
Video Guys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.